sixth graders. Today we are learning about how to change percents into decimals. So yesterday we learned about making decimals into percents. So you were given the decimal first, had to turn it into a fraction, and then make it into a percent. Today we're going to do the opposite of that. I'm going to give you percents and you are going to have to turn them into decimals. So we are in for some excitement today around percents and decimals. And we're going to keep building on all the different things that we've been learning, concepts, over the last couple weeks. So let's first start with this example that says 15%. So example A says 15%. So we know that we can turn a percentage into a fraction out of 100 because this just means 15 over 100 if we're thinking about special ratios. So if I throw away that percent sign and make this into a fraction of 15 over 100, I can now turn this into a decimal by reading this as 15 hundredths. So if I read this as 15 hundredths, I know that the hundredths place is 2 spots over, right? So just like yesterday, this is the hundredths place. And so by having 2 spots after the decimal, we've made it to the hundredths. We're out of hundredths and we're out of 100%. So 100, 100, hundredths. All of this works. So 15% equals 15 hundredths as a decimal. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do another problem. How about if you start with 5%? So 5%. As a fraction, we would write 5% as 5 100ths. Now, here's where we get a little bit tricky. Because if I just put this as 0.5, that means 50%, right? 0.50 in the hundredths spot. But this is 5 hundredths. So really, if I need to put 5 hundredths, I need to make sure that I fill in a 0 so the 5 is in the hundredths place. If I put it like this, 0.5, if I fill in, that's 5/10, right? Well, 5/10 is the same as 50 hundredths. So this is not equal to that. So we really need to make sure that when we're reading our place value that we are carefully reading what type of fraction that we have. So here we had 5 hundredths. Here we have 5 hundredths. This right here, this is saying 5/10. So we want to make sure that we're not mixing up this. Another way to remember it is that we have 2 spots after the decimal. So if the number is, here, let's go like this. If the number is 5%, hundredths has 2 zeros. So 5 is a whole number. I would go tenths, hundredths, and just fill in the 0. Okay, so another way is to move the decimal point 2 spots because there's 2 zeros. So paying close attention to place value. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. All right, let's do another problem. Oops, that's supposed to be C. All right, letter C. Let's say I have 100%. Okay, I have 100%. this means that I have 100 out of 100. So I got full credit there, right? But as a decimal, this also means I have 100 pennies out of 100 pennies. Well, we know that when we write money, a dollar, we can only, hundreds place is only 2 spots. So if I were to write 100, 2 spots would be right there. So that means that I have 1 whole dollar, right? So 1 whole. I have 1 whole. 100 out of 100 is 1 whole. So here is 1 whole. Again, you can look at this and go 1, 2, and count the number of places that you jump when you have more numbers than necessary. Okay, let's do one more example, and then I'm going to give you some try-its. So here is example D, and let's say that I have 42%. All right, we know that that is the same as saying 42 out of 100, because in our last lesson we learned how to put percents into fractions. Now we're going to read this as 42 hundredths, or 0.42, 42 hundredths. All right, it is your turn to do a try-it. So here are your try-its. Try-it number 1 is 73%, and try-it number 2 is 2%. Okay, go ahead and do your try-its. Hit pause so that you don't hear me talking while I help you do your try-its. All right, so 73% is the same as saying 73 over 100, and 73 over 100 is equal to 73 hundredths. 73 hundredths, 73 hundredths. All right, ooh, this one, they're trying to trick me here. I know that this is 2 hundredths, right? 2 over 100. So this one, there's only 1 spot, so I'm going to go 1, 2, move that decimal over. I have to put the 0 in. So 2 hundredths, not 2 tenths, 2 hundredths. All right, 6th graders, how are you feeling about this lesson? Changing percents into decimals. How are you feeling about that? Go ahead and answer your essential question out to the side, and then rate your understanding of changing percents to decimals. When you are finished, if you have questions, head on over to the Google Meet and ask me for help. And if you don't have any questions, you can head on over to your practice work. As always, Cougars, I thank you for all of your hard work, and make it a great day the Cougar way.